Hello and good evening to all of you, social media friends, local neighbors who may be neighbors to myself and my co-host Greg, who is going to join us in just a few seconds. Welcome to you. If you're getting us for the first time in this episode, by the way, this is a holiday episode. Why? Because, hey, we're in the month of December, the last month of the year. And also, I've got a nice little surprise for you, just for you, toward the end of our live stream conversation tonight. So by all means, stay until the end. You don't want to miss it. So having said that, let's check in on Greg. By the way, for those of you who have enjoyed Greg welcoming you into our Real Living in Bolingbrook podcast series, because he's very consistent, much more so than I am. He's so consistent with pushing out his newsletter to all of you that live in or near Bolingbrook, or those of you who want to live in Bolingbrook because, well, you know, you got some life events happening that might compel that move. So with that said, Greg, over the past 12 months now, oh my gosh, Greg, we've been doing this for a long enough time. Greg has now earned the opportunity to have what I call his co-host prep room. So with all of that said, let's make sure he's ready to go. Let's knock on his co-host prep room door. Here we go. Hey, Greg, get yourself ready, man. We got to show up for this last episode of the year. All right. All right. Here we come.
Hey, Bill, how are you? Hey, everyone, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to
Yes.
all of you
Yes.
watching us, listening to us, whether you're getting this as a live stream or as a recording, right? It doesn't matter to us how you get to us, when you get to us. What matters to Greg and myself is that you benefit from and you enjoy this content that we share with you. And sometimes our content is, I don't know, just a casual conversation, but somewhere in that casual conversation, for all of you, we try to give you content that is going to be impactful for your real estate life events. So let's get this started tonight, Greg. Before I start, got to ask the first question. Are you prepared for the holiday?
Yeah, pretty much. So I have family coming into town that we're going to be picking up at the beginning of next week on Monday. And I'm winding down pretty much this week, just taking care of the last few details. And then I'm going to be off all of next week until until January 2nd.
Good for you.
I'm taking some time off. Yeah.
Good for you. It sounds like, you know, you're doing it absolutely the right way. You've got your family coming in from out of town. You're going to give them your undivided attention. I have no doubt maybe over your family get-together, dinners, breakfast, there may be some real estate talk, but hey, you're going to enjoy the family.
Yeah, we had 30 people over on Thanksgiving. Actually, I think it was like 33 people or something like that. So now we're having some more people over for Christmas. So it's kind of nice.
Wow. So are you and yours all prepared with like the holiday gifting and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. We play a game where, you know, you pass around a gift and then you steal it and then you give it to somebody else and that kind of thing.
Yeah. We do the same as well. My wife's side of the family, because her family is all here, mine is all spread out.
Okay.
And second reason, her family is much larger. So for the reason of economy, you know, you can't be dropping way too many Benjamins and splurging on the credit card to get everyone a gift.
Well, I'm actually kind of in the doghouse with the in-laws because
you are?
Yeah, I told a joke a while back and I said, I asked the family, we were all eating around the table, and I said, "What's the difference between in-laws and outlaws?"
What's that?
Outlaws are wanted. We're like, "Ugh." So,
I like that. I like that. Hey, every family has its unique dynamics, right?
yeah.
That's where and how movies are made that we get to consume and enjoy. So let's lead off tonight's episode with what you always do, what you do so well, and that is sharing with your audience, my audience, our combined audiences together, what is going on with the real estate market
In Bolingbrook. So, since this is the last episode of the year, what I kind of wanted to do was take a look back and take a
Okay.
look back for several years.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to see, because the major shift in our real estate market happened right around when the pandemic happened back in 2020. So we have this graph, and you can throw it up on the screen real quick.
Sure.
It shows active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. Shift between November 2019 and November of 2024. And this is just mind-blowing to me. I mean, absolute mind-blowing. You have some states like Texas up 17% as far as inventory levels, Florida 15%, Tennessee 20%. And I've always been saying here on this episode that we just don't have the inventory. Inventory levels are extremely low.
Right.
Homes are selling real quick. A new home comes on the market and it's gone. And here it shows Illinois down 59%, tied with the other state over there. I can't even tell exactly what state that is over there. What state is that over there?
To left or right of us in Illinois?
To the right of us.
To the right of us, that would be Indiana.
No.
Oh, Des Moines or Missouri?
No. I'm talking about way over on the East Coast, like
based on the East Coast. Oh,
yeah, like Pennsylvania. That one's down 59% as well.
That's right.
But the inventory levels are extremely low.
Right.
So I have talked to a couple of builders around here. D.R. Horton, I went up and visited with them up in Hampshire, Illinois.
Okay.
And they are building, and they have a couple of subdivisions going up, but one of them, they have 15,000 homes that they're building up there.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And then they're also building around Oswego. There's Pulte builders right over here building. So that's what we need, is we need more inventory, more builders to build.
We do.
Yeah, we just don't have the inventory.
That's right. And for that reason, supply and demand, right? Basic economics. That's why, because of tight supply, I know you shared this very consistent in previous episodes. Home prices, very local to us, have held very strong, if not increased.
Oh
yeah. And in this particular slide, this is a larger view of the north central Midwest that Illinois falls into, and both you and I can see that year over year prices have stayed pretty consistent and healthy.
Yes. Yeah. And there it shows the east, north, central, which is Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. Out of all those states, Indiana, like looking at the other graph, shows that they're only down 17% inventory levels. So that one's probably skewing the other states. It's probably going to be more than that. Illinois would be more than that for sure.
Yeah. Well, one thing for certain, I know enough friends that I can count on more than two hands, more than 10 fingers, that have left Illinois. They haven't left the Midwest, but they've left Illinois, crossed over to the state line into Indiana, like Munster, Cedar Lake, South Bend, right? Just some examples.
Yeah, taxes are a fraction of what they are
much
here.
lower. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you pay, I think it's 1% over there,
Right.
so it's quite a bit less.
Right. So, with all of that said, yeah, your conversation point about builders needing to build more, I think they are.
Mhm.
I think they are, but one of the things that can be a challenge for them going into 2025 is hopefully the labor market isn't going to contract, right? Because
That's yeah.
without good labor, they're not going to be able to build as fast, get the certificate of occupancy, and then with your help, sell to your client.
Yeah, and I've heard other things too. Like some people are afraid of the tariffs that are going to supposedly happen. The prices are going to increase, but then you have on the flip side, there's supposed to be a deregulation
Yeah,
of a whole bunch of things, and that will probably offset it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what will happen.
yeah.
So
Let's hope it's a net positive,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
for our consumer clients out there, and then also for you and I as service providers to those
yep.
same consumer clients.
Yeah. But real quick, looking at just Bolingbrook
Yeah.
and looking back, when I spanned back all the way back toward the crash back in
Okay.
2008, the price per square foot at its lowest point was in April of 2012 in
Okay.
Bolingbrook.
Yeah.
It was $80 a square foot.
Okay.
Today we're at 194 a
Wow.
square foot, which was the same as it was last month.
Okay.
Homes for sale in 2008, the highest was July of 2008, with 736 homes for sale in
Mhm.
Bolingbrook. Today we have 83.
Wow.
Now keep in mind this. So 736 to 83. We have more homes in Bolingbrook than we had back then.
Yeah.
And we still have a lot less homes for
Yeah.
sale. New listings of January of 2008. The new homes that came on the market, there was 2267. So 2,200 came on the market. Today we have just over 1,000.
Mm.
And the month supply of inventory was in April of 2009. It was 14 and a half months supply. So it took 14 and a half months to sell a home versus today, which is 1.4 months.
Yeah. It's amazing, right? The speed of which things can get done. And who knows? Maybe Greg, maybe the reason why some of our clients are pondering, I wouldn't say they're struggling with it, but they're pondering making that next move is one, they can't find what they want fast enough. And then second, I hear this story more times than not, which is Greg, Bill, I want to sell. I want to get to the next chapter, but I got 10 years of stuff in this large home that I got to pack up and get that all done in less than 4 weeks. That might be an impossible project.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, moving anytime is I mean, you really got to plan for it and prepare for it.
True.
You got to work months in advance to prepare for it.
Right.
And then even when you think that you have everything ready to go, oh, I'll be done. I'll be out of here in 30 days. I always tell my sellers, plan on like 20% more time because
Yeah.
it's amazing. You'll move everything out of your house and then you'll look back and there's one more lamp and then there's one more over here. The odds and ends take a full day just to clear out of the home.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Um, and the longer that you've lived in a home, unfortunately, human nature, the more you can accumulate. Now, having said that, audience members, I'm going to lean in to say this, and Greg's going to nod. I know he is. If that is of a challenge to you, don't fear, no fear. Greg and I have people. We have people that we can introduce to you to make this next step less stressful, less taxing. And you've heard me say this before. There are certain things that you should not DIY. And sometimes moving, decluttering, all of that stuff, yes, it makes sense to engage some professionals, right?
Yeah, not me. I got a bad back. I'm not moving anything.
Yeah, but we got people that we can speed dial, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, let's now move the conversation to a little bit of my world. And I'm going to throw this question. I'm going to throw this question at you, Greg, and I'm going to throw this question to all of you who are watching tonight's episode. And the question is simply, Greg, which is more important, credit or income?
Income. And the reason why is because income is harder to get. Credit is easy. You could have horrible credit, and as long as you do the right things over the next, few months, your credit score is going to come right back up. I've seen people's credit where they had a bankruptcy 6 months ago, immediately get a new credit card with a small limit and start exercising that, and their credit scores just go right back up. Yeah. So, of course, with the bankruptcy, when buying a home, you have, time issues, but
true.
But I've seen the credit scores go right back up.
Yeah, spot on. By the way, audience members, that wasn't meant to be a trick question, but because Greg is so experienced in the business of real estate, and you may have heard him share this with you in his prior life, until he got really smart, he was a mortgage broker. So he knows his stuff, right? That's why I had to kind of, engage him in this conversation. But you're spot on. Credit is never permanently fixed in time. For each and every one of us, your credit will ebb and flow. And there's several things that can affect that. So I am right there with you. What's more important is really income. Income is going to drive your purchasing power, how quickly you can execute, and how much you can borrow when you decide to use other people's money. And not to mention, the more income you have, the faster you can pay off debt, and that then will skyrocket your credit profile.
Right.
Yep. All right, let's now move our conversation to this last part. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with Greg and you, audience members. And Greg, I'm going to ask you this question. First and foremost, I think you know this already. The pot, the size of the Mega Million has grown tremendously, right?
Yes.
Okay. But I'm not going to ask you a question about the Mega Millions pot. I'm going to simply ask you what I think could be somewhat realistic. And that is, what would you do, Greg, if you were to get your hands on $45,000 today?
45,000. If I were to get my hands on 45,000,
what would you do?
I would probably give it to my financial planner and say, "Here, go
make it bigger."
Yeah, make it bigger.
Make it bigger. Okay. So I like that. You're so prudent.
I was hoping you were going to ask me what would I do if I won the Mega Millions.
Okay. What would you do if you won the Mega Millions? Yeah.
A cabin up in the North Woods of Wisconsin.
I can see you doing that.
An airplane. I want to fly, so I'd get my airplane license. And those are the big two things.
and maybe a few more kayaks for the new cabin up in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah,
so
I'll keep a couple there.
Yeah, you don't have to drive your current ones, the to and from.
I don't even want to paddle up there. I have a pontoon boat up there.
You want to? There you go. Yeah. So you heard it, audience members. If Greg wins the Mega Million, all of it or a fraction of it, you heard from him what he's going to do. And by the way, he may not call you as fast if you decide to sell or buy real estate. But I'm just joking there.
My voicemail message might be changed a little bit.
Might be changed. Right. Yeah. You may go incognito for a little bit. I hear you. So, audience members, why do I throw that question at Greg? which is, what would you do, audience members, if you instantly had access to $45,000? Drop your social posts. I would love to see some of your prudent ideas or crazy ideas. Now, let me pivot to talk about, why am I asking this question? It is because, tying this back to our business, which is helping our clients with real estate life events in this episode of Real Living in Bolingbrook, right now, audience members, there is third-party down payment assistance for someone you may know who is carrying student loan balances up to $40,000. This third-party down payment assistance does two things immediately. It will consolidate and pay off the student loan balances, again, up to $40,000, and it will give you an additional 5 Gs as down payment assistance, so that, you know, it can add to your coffers of your down payment, or you can apply it toward closing fees, closing costs. So Greg, as you hear this, right, think about who you might know, some of your friends, neighbors, who maybe they're not the ones holding student loan balances, but let's get real, it could be their adult children.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. $40,000.
It is.
So I'm not real familiar with the program. So do you have to then probably stay in the home a certain amount of time?
That's correct. There's some handcuffs.
Okay.
So great. Yep, you're a smart guy. You know, nothing is completely free in life. So the handcuff is, you have to own the property where you have tapped this benefit from this third party. You have to own and stay in the property for at least 3 years. After that, boom, it's behind you.
The average person stays in their home 5 years.
Bingo. I agree with you.
And especially first-time home buyers, and that's who this probably would work best for.
Yes, yes. And unfortunately, it can be the first-time home buyers. I'm calling out to some of you watching this episode who had the commitment to get that degree or the extra degree, but along the way, you had to, of course, leverage some student loans to make that a reality for yourself. And right now, this can be a solution for you if two things are important for you. One, you want to see the student loans in your rearview mirror. And second, you have a real estate life event that I'm certain Greg and I can be of help to you. So how can you reach out to us? Absolutely. How can you reach out to us? All you have to do is scan the QR codes that you see right here, right now, and we will start a conversation with you. And you heard it from Greg. We may have to start a conversation with you after the holidays have passed.
You know, I was thinking, even if you don't want to buy a house,
right,
for 40 grand, go buy a house.
Yes. Why not, right?
Yeah.
So as you heard from Greg, he's got some time blocked to enjoy with his family coming from out of town. And also, let's get real, you've been so busy this year. You need to have some downtime to kind of get your catch your breath and gear yourself up for 2025. Yeah. So as we wrap up tonight's episode, here's my little surprise for you, audience members. I've got some holiday music courtesy of a friend of mine. His name is 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙡. He is a pan musician. And by the way, he's not too far from Greg and myself. He lives just outside of the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. So with all of that said, let me share with you this holiday music. Please enjoy. Here we go.